Hey, Scott from MyGrowthRings.com here once again is in my garage shop, or at least it's my garage shop for a little while longer till we sell this house. Probably going to hit the market this week, so we're kind of anxious to see what happens there. Anyway, so by now you've seen the thumbnail and read the title. I haven't had the luxury of that, so I'm excited to see what you see. If you don't mind, let me take you back in time, back to when I was a kid, back in the 60s and 70s. You could go to Sears and let's say, for example, you went into the paint department. You were being helped by people who had been painters, who maybe owned their own paint store at one time. You go into the hardware section and you take, a piece of plumbing with you, and there's a dang retired plumber helping you out. It was very exciting because the stores were packed with people who knew what they were doing. And then at some point, Sears decided it would be far more profitable to hire people who don't know anything. And fast forward to now, and we see how well that worked out for Sears. But back when I worked at Shopsmith back in the 80s and 90s, I used to love going to Sears and checking out the tools. And while as much as I love Shopsmith tools, I'm a tool nut, a hardware nerd, if you will. And one of the tools that they had that I thought was really intriguing was a dado blade. Now, we've already talked about the Magna dado being one of the earliest accurate adjustable dado blades, and how that Shopsmith eventually evolved into a carbide tip 6-inch blade, again a wobble blade. But what Sears had was kind of cool, and that was they had a 2-blade wobble dado blade. So you would have these 2 blades that would adjust in sort of a V shape, and just like a standard dado blade, they're then locked in that position. So the outside tips are the only ones cutting in that plane. But instead of having a single blade tooth here and a single tooth over here making those outside score cuts, you had more teeth. It had a little bit of an advantage over a single blade in that you got something closer to a flat bottom. So this was a blade that they called the Excalibur, and they were proud of it too. But I remember at one point they introduced a new innovation that they called the Excalibur Plus, and that was a 3-blade adjustable dado blade. And of course, it was far more expensive than the standard Excalibur, and I didn't dare purchase one. But I've been watching them. I've been keeping an eye out on them for them on eBay, and finally I found one that kind of hit my number, and so that's what we have here. Unopened package directly from the seller, and I thought I'd open this up and check it out with you. We're getting down to where a lot of stuff is packed up. It's getting hard to shoot a video of any value to you, so hopefully there's something to learn here. And maybe this is a tool that is worth owning. I don't know at this point whether this is something I could recommend to you, but this blade that I do recommend from Freud in the 8-inch is about 120 bucks right now. In the 6-inch version is about 85. And if you can pick this blade up for that price or lower, and if it happens to perform well, then maybe it's worth considering. So give me a moment to focus on this. There we go. So this is supposed to be in its original packaging. I believe it's unused. However, if I recall from the video or the images on eBay, I think there was probably a little bit of rust on it. Let's check this out. So it says Sears Craftsman. And let me reposition you. All right, so what do we have here? Looks like we have a wrench. We've got a hex wrench. There's a couple pieces of literature, Excalibur. And this is showing multiple dado blades that were a part of the line. Oh, I said Excalibur Plus. It's the Excalibur Elite. Ooh. Says 30-degree angle scoring teeth for reduced tear out. Special shoulder design controls feed. So it's got that anti-kickback shoulder just like the Freud Safety Dado. Dynite carbide teeth last up to 5 times longer than conventional carbide teeth. Multiple hook angles allow easy feed and smooth cut. Advanced dial allows easy adjustment without multiple chipper or shims. Infinitely adjustable between 1/4 inch and 13/16. Finger holds for controlled adjustment, wrench also included. Industrial tolerances for precision cuts. Combining the best features of adjustable and professional stacked dados. Well, we'll see about that, won't we? And I'm assuming that there are going to be some instructions. Yes, so we'll check that out. But let's take a look at this blade. So just one blade. This blade, I'm guessing, is going to remain vertical. We'll have to find out. Look at the bend here, where that entire tooth is bent inward. That's interesting. And there's a big old notch there. Here's those little finger things it mentioned. And it looks like there's an indicator that you would dial the size that you're cutting. Those little hex things there appear to be how this is attached. That's loose, so I need to be sure that we tighten that little bolt up. Then what do we have? So this would be the internal blade, and you can see how it's going to get that wobble action going on. Okay, so I don't know what I'm doing. I guess, again, I should take a look at the instructions. All right, we're going to do that. We're going to do that, and all right, so one big takeaway from this is there is a left-hand drive and a right-hand drive setup for this. I'm assuming that this, what they're calling a drive pin, and that's held in place with a button head screw. I'm assuming that drive pin would move from one side to the other. If this was set up on a table saw, you would want to have that against your motor or the inside of your arbor, and then you would be able to stack the blades on that with that drive pin. So if we're going to put this on a Mark V, this is all going to be going onto this Molder Dado arbor. So we'll take these parts off. Oh, I may need, do I need the spacer? Well, we're gonna try this and see what happens. Okay, that one goes there. This one goes there, right over the drive pin. And that goes over the drive pin. I'm gonna take our washer, our tongued washer, that's gonna go on, and then our nut. All right, let's see how this thing looks on the end of the Mark V arbor. All right, so I'm comfortable enough right now to tell you that I'm not comfortable with this just yet. I want to take this manual home and study it, and I think we take a look at this in our midweek follow-up and make sure that it's all set up just right. But as I look at this, it does have some really aggressive outside cutters. It's a mix of an alternating top bevel, of a top bevel, and a raker tooth. And then on the inside, that inside dado blade has something akin to a raker tooth. This is really an interesting blade. Right now I just have it on here hand tight. Can we adjust that? Look at that. Okay, so that's cool. The way that is opening up. I'm running out of arbor though. Tighten that down. Okay, we're at the end of my comfort zone now, so I'm going to go back home and study this, and in our midweek follow-up, we'll actually put this to the test. Now, in the meantime, I have two important questions for you. The first one is, what's your white whale? What's a tool that when you saw it, you thought, gosh, I have to have that, and that you keep looking for it and trying to find one in a decent condition or decent price? And the second question is, if you have any experience, any knowledge, or you're aware of a video or an article that you can link to about this blade, please do that in a comment as well. That'll help me prepare. Got a fly in here. That'll help me to prepare for the midweek follow-up. Speaking of the midweek follow-up, we now have 100 channel members, which is just absolutely amazing and humbling. I want to thank all of you. It is because of their generosity we can do the midweek follow-up. So thank you all very much. And in the meantime, make it a great week.